your mouth, better add your respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck when I burn you like. This ain't a game, my aim is the throne. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone. Throw it off in my brain and I'm back to the bone.
We will have our first team champions of the Kartrider Drift League decided in this third and final phase between Liiv SANDBOX and KWANGDONGFREECS. It is a King of the Hill, all-kill format, 1v1 battle, and right now, I mean, it's hard to say really who has the stronger momentum. KWANGDONGFREECS kept their chances alive with a win in the ace match, but Liiv SANDBOX have otherwise had a lot of great moments themselves. They're racing out of their minds tonight, State.
Yeah, Liiv SANDBOX has really been performing, but the ace matches, KWANGDONGFREECS having World up their sleeves is such a dangerous proposition here for LSB to try and take him down as the first track coming in. It's going to be WKC Mexico Touring Rally.
So two tracks back-to-back, these WKC tracks, where there's a lot to break down in terms of how many different angles you could take. These newer tracks have so many different lines, and it's very difficult to actually defend your first place. And even drafting can be such a danger that holding first place can be a disadvantage, as we saw in that previous ace match. Our starters, Spear versus Jimin here.
All right, so it makes a lot of sense to me to bring Jimin back. I'm actually surprised that KWANGDONGFREECS didn't bring World back as well, because I think you just kind of want to ride the momentum. You know, you just played an ace match. Yes, you lost, but you're ready. It's like a warm-up here for phase number 3. And so I really like the choice coming in from Liiv SANDBOX to bring Jimin out once more here. And for KWANGDONGFREECS, it's going to be Spear. He's a legendary sweeper, but can he step up here in the 1v1 as we're about to kick off phase 3, best of 7 ace match, non-stop action. Let's go to round 1, WKC Mexico Touring Rally.
Our phase 3 begins here with Spear and Jimin. Spear, definitely not your closer here for KWANGDONGFREECS, much more known for his team play, but Jimin has improved massively. They chose him as an ace. He's already warmed up, and he's starting things off here for Liiv SANDBOX. Spear will take the lead. This is a one-lap track. Very difficult to hold on to your lead because there's several different ways you can approach these lines.
Yeah, it's very similar to Brazil circuit in that way, where a player coming into the final 300 meters in first place doesn't necessarily guarantee the win, because there are opportunities to draft and go for some really tight lines, as Jimin getting a lot of speed right here in this section, just staying within draft range from Spear. Neither player really taking too many risks right now, playing this very safe as Jimin went for a pass there, did get blocked a little bit by Spear, and as a result, a tiny bit behind the nitrous gauge, but still a very close race.
Yeah, Spear known for his sweeping. Tough to sweep here, but he's trying his best. Does get past in this moment here for Jimin, who does have that nitro advantage as well that you just referred to. Let's see which path Jimin wants to take here. Spear will have to follow. He takes the lower ground. Tougher turn here, really dragging Spear behind him, because Spear needs to try to draft off this, so he has to follow. He will once again take the low ground, and Spear taking an opportunity to actually pass. Successful.
Yeah, he's successfully able to pass right now as we get closer and closer to that finish line. Jimin needs to make a play. Now he is able to draft and gain a little bit of speed on that one. 500 meters to go. He collides with Spear, and the blocking actually might be enough. Jimin here on the straightaway, can he barely edge it out? no, I think Spear has done it. That was so unbelievably close.
That was insane how close it was. You could see the flicker from first to second go through in those final moments, those final centimeters. But it is Kwangdong's racer Spear who will cross the finish line first, almost finding it difficult to believe. But this is a huge hit to Liiv SANDBOX. They've lost one of their strongest aces, one they trusted early. 0.001 seconds, the leader here is Spear. It does not get closer than this, Kart Rider fans.
Yeah, that's as close as it gets. That is as close as it gets.
There's no fourth decimal in our stats. We don't go that far.
That's unbelievable, man. Jimin was so close. If one of those blocks wasn't able to register, if Spear wasn't able to fully block out Jimin there, I mean, it just changes everything completely in that race.
Track selection here, of course, to Liiv SANDBOX, as well as their next racer. We'll find out in just a moment here. They have 30 seconds to decide who will challenge Spear next. Spear looking very nervous, but I think he's already done more than what they bargained for when they put him out early. If he wins the first race, he kills Jimin. Jimin is gone. You can't use him anymore. Spear took him out. Arguably your weakest 1v1 racer is KWANGDONGFREECS, so they have so much momentum right now. Let's find out what that track selection is going to be. Well, we're doing racer selection now as well. Okay, Village Bayside Bridge Run. This feels like a Neil track to me.
I'm with you. We'll have to wait and see what the racer selection is going to be as that timer continues to click down. Liiv SANDBOX certainly discussing amongst themselves and with their coaches about who is going to come. And it seems they might have reached a decision already.
I wouldn't mind to see Byung-Soo or Hyunsu here either. But, you know, if you're saving Neil for the closer, that can put a lot of pressure on him. And we have seen that go both ways. We're going to find out who it's going to be now with the reveal.
Keep in mind, each team only has 4 lives. Liiv SANDBOX has lost one of those lives already to Spear, who's going to stay on and face their next racer.
Hyunsu.
Wow, okay. Hyunsu versus Spear now coming in. This feels like it's going to be a relatively even match. I don't know who has the advantage here.
I mean, Bayside Bridge Run is definitely a track where you can block well, and Spear is very good at that. You know, a lot more narrow, a lot easier to hold on to your lead. So I think the start here is going to be the most critical.
So is Hyunsu, though. He's also mostly known as a sweeper for Liiv SANDBOX. It's sweeper on sweeper action here as we continue on in Phase 3 of the KDL Grand Finals. KWANGDONGFREECS versus Liiv SANDBOX. Let's go to track number 2. It's going to be Village Bayside Bridge Run. Spear was able to take down Jimin by a fraction of a second. Can he do the same here against Hyunsu and give his team a 2-0 lead? So far off to a great start. Hyunsu trying to find that inner line to get the advantage, but Spear, as you said, Wolf, so good at blocking, able to slow him down just a bit.
Spear, I think, backfiring a little bit with the aggressive cuts he wanted to take there to build some extra nitro. He actually finds himself falling behind as a result of that. And this is a 2-lap track here. Spear pulls ahead off of that collision. Now tries to pull out of Hyunsu's draft and then block him on the return here while cutting. That was a really aggressive move that could have been extremely efficient, but unfortunately kind of botches the execution, and Hyunsu will maintain first for now.
Yeah, Hyunsu in a really good position now coming in. Still in first place. It can be really tough to pass on these turns as you want to take the tightest possible line. You don't really want to go wide, but as a result, you don't really have a lot of opportunities if your opponent's in a good position. And Spear trying to find that angle. Oh, Hyunsu, he wanted that block so bad, but wasn't able to get it.
Yeah, he tried multiple times there. The collision's definitely favoring Spear, though, again. This time, Hyunsu taking the outer there as Spear aggressively goes in. Hyunsu will find the angle, but doesn't actually get these kisses he's looking for. He wants to knock Spear back. He does remain in first, but doesn't actually get Spear knocked backwards.
That was a little bit of a brake check that did steal some of Spear's momentum, although off the draft, he is able to regain that ground. Both players with full nitro gauges as Spear on this wide track, able to take the lead for now, but Hyunsu, I guarantee you, is going to be looking for that pass again. Can Spear block him?
Looks like he's trying to, as Hyunsu takes this outer here as we move into some of these final turns now. This is going to be so important for momentum. Nitro's out, Spear looking for the pass. Hyunsu denies, he bumps the wall.
Yeah, Hyunsu was barely able to thread the needle between Spear and the wall, and now coming down this turn, Hyunsu with a really good lead, but he comes the wall! No! It's a disaster for Liiv SANDBOX, and Spear, he gets a freebie on that one, man. A get out of jail free card.
Absolutely.
At LSB, they are choking Hyunsu with a really rough stretch going down that just one last turn and to make it, he gets the win, but instead
it's so crazy because, as you say, it's a big choke. If you're neck and neck with a racer, that is one of the hardest turns to make because you have to try to avoid collision. They're drafting on you, they're pushing past, and that's a really tough one. But when you have the advantage that Hyunsu has, that's one of the easiest finishes actually in our track pool right now, and he just completely botched it. The pressure is on.
That is a turn that Hyunsu makes 99 times out of 100.
And 999 out of 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, his skill is so high. He's one of the best racers in the world. He's here in the finals for a reason. But the pressure is so high right now that I don't think this is the last mistake we're going to see over the course of this best of 7 of aces.
I don't think so either.
I mean, the pressure is just so high. Think about 60 million Korean won separating first from second place here, and it's all coming down to these last couple of tracks.
And it's insane to me that Spear could be the one who gets the most wins for Kwangdong here in these final moments. The racer they tossed out just to see what the plan is here for Liiv SANDBOX. He wins with a really nice play in the first track. The second track, his opponent makes a mistake. He picks up 2. You can see he's not even celebrating that much because he's just like, well, you know, I guess I'll take these. As a lot of tough discussions here between Byung-Soo and Neil. They have 2 racers left here. 10 seconds to go.
I'm feeling like it's Neil.
Yeah, he's got his earbuds coming in. I think it is going to be Neil here on Shanghai circuit. He's going to have to bring more than just one home. If he loses this one, the last racer, Byung-Soo, he is going to have to go through every single KWANGDONGFREECS racer to get the reverse sweep, the reverse all kill, and it will be Neil here.
Not a
he's
surprise.
got to get it done here, or Liiv SANDBOX is in dire straits.
I think he needs at least 1 kill, arguably 2, to come really even close to putting this one within victory's grasp. But Spear, I gotta say, it felt like he got a little bit outplayed there on Bayside Bridge Run. It was a get out of jail free card. But at the same time, Neil, he's been kind of quiet so far this finals. He hasn't been really the star player that we know that he's capable of being here on the biggest of stages. Let's see if he can step it up now when the pressure is at its highest. Track number 3, WKC Shanghai circuit.
Off we go. Neil, one of 2 racers left here for Liiv SANDBOX. He has felt the pressure on this stage so many times. Heart rate already hitting 175 here. This guy was just on this stage last week in the finals. It's his 3rd finals here in Team League as well. He has been so close to kissing the trophy, but this is the first real finals. This is where it really matters, and he is going to have to get at least 1 kill here. I'd say probably 2 if Liiv SANDBOX are going to lift that trophy tonight.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and so far a very close race, but I got to give the advantage here to Neil. He's been very solid taking these turns, taking very different lines from Spear, and as a result, thus far, he's been able to maintain the Nitro boost gauge. Now, finally here, about 40 seconds into lap number 1, Spear is at last taking that first place position, but the Nitro gauge once again favoring Neil by almost a full charge.
Neil is holding on to this lead as tight as he can. You could feel him clutch it as Spear here, inexperienced compared to Neil in these high-pressure situations. Neil's been here so many times, and Neil's just calm and collected here, even with that high heart rate. In terms of his racing, he looks cool as a cucumber here. Spear down on Nitro for just a moment. See if Neil can avoid these drafts. He's trying to pull ahead on this turn, but Spear actually catching him on this one.
Neil absolutely doing such a great job with these tight lines. I mean, his Nitro gauge management has been so perfect coming through this one, but Spear with a really good angle there. Neil luckily able to get that block off. And that's going to siphon a lot of momentum there from Spear as the Nitro gauge get even. 400 meters left to go. Spear, can he get the 3rd kill? Neil here on this straightaway looking very good. The draft will come in, but Neil barely by the skin of his teeth is going to pick up a track win and get Liiv SANDBOX on the board.
Oh, and he looks determined. He's taken out Spear, but he wants more than that. Such a tight moment there at the end with the draft, and I almost thought for a second with the block attempt there from Neil, he had just lost too much speed, not going as the crow flies, but actually taking the widest possible angle. Lost him a few meters there on Spear. It looked scary, but he holds fast, and once again, we're looking at a very, very close race here. 0.06 seconds, the deciding factor here between these 2. But now Liiv SANDBOX are on the board. We will see for the first time the track selection for KWANGDONGFREECS, as well as their first racer here to come out. As Neil, you could see, I mean, his heart rate peaked at, you know, over 180 there. He is really feeling the pressure, but again, he's been here so many times, and maybe tonight's the night he can calm himself down and cross that finish line for his team.
Desert Construction Chaos is going to be the track of choice.
Feels like I'm feeling cool. Who are you feeling here?
Feeling cool? I'm not sure if you bring cool out just yet, but it's tough to say. I'm thinking potentially Sungbin, but given the map, Construction Chaos,
Cool and World is so good at this track.
Yeah, I think World is your last life. I think you save him until the very end, and we'll see what the choice is going to be, and it is in fact Sungbin.
They baited us with those camera shots. I thought maybe they already knew it was World. That Sungbin who comes out.
The producer's chiming. It's like, we got to fool the viewers. We got to keep the suspense high here.
Well, I mean, if you give Neil the opportunity to beat Sungbin here, he gets a lot of momentum. He's going to be feeling less nervous when he has to go against the final bosses, right, in Cool and World.
That's a good point.
I think this is a risky choice for KWANGDONGFREECS. We'll see if it pays off. Neil is one of 2 racers left. Sungbin could cut the chances of Liiv SANDBOX in half with a win here on Desert Construction Chaos.
A 2-1 lead here for KWANGDONGFREECS coming into round 4 as Neil looks to fight back and try and keep Liiv SANDBOX's hope of hoisting that trophy alive as Sungbin and Neil thus far off to a really close race.
Neil hanging back here, trying to wait for an opportunistic moment off of draft. Sungbin brake checking him a little bit here, looking for that kiss into the wall. That was a sick play from Sungbin, and that is going to cost Neil a ton of momentum, and he's already struggling here to stay in draft range.
I think this is one of the reasons why Sungbin is such a good selection on this track, is because this is a sweeper's paradise, and Sungbin, I believe more than the runners and the speed aces of KDF, is able to do these brake checks and these blocks, especially on these 90-degree turns. And so Neil, he's got to be very careful if Sungbin goes for them big plays like that one.
That was another great play, but the recovery here from Neil is actually quite nice. A lesser racer loses everything off of that, but Neil actually recovers so beautifully, brakes, and then accelerates right behind. He's still nearly in draft range here of Sungbin.
That's just a lot of damage, and Sungbin only needs 1 or 2 more brake checks like that one to be able to deliver a win, as Neil has a lot of ground to make up here on Sungbin. Almost 0.8 seconds behind him coming into lap number 2.
Great nitro builds there from Neil, using his nitro a little bit early just to get the most possible on these turns as he drafts, or rather drifts through. And he is keeping it tight here with Sungbin. One mistake could change everything, but Sungbin has such a nice edge right now. Neil moving into draft range, but again, we've seen such great blocks from Sungbin on the 90s that don't know if Neil is going to be able to pass here. Sees an opportunity!
Oh, he went for it again, but Sungbin with a bit of a soul read right there. Did not go for the block that Neil was anticipating. He just slowed down, went for that wider line, and Neil, as a result, ricocheted off the wall.
Oh,
and
that
man, he clips
really
the corner.
hurts. I mean, you could see time stop in that moment where Neil shot his shot, but it is not going to be enough,
no.
and now he's cracking under the pressure. And it looks like Sungbin is going to bring his team to match point. There is no way. He's over 100 meters ahead, 400 to go. He can take this line as easy as he likes because KWANGDONGFREECS are going to go up 3-1 here. Neil fails in his attempt against Sungbin. And now it is just one track that KWANGDONGFREECS need to take their 3rd win here, but the first real win in the KDL.
Yeah, it's Sungbin coming through in the clutch, and I think this is really a win for the coaching staff of the KDF, going for Sungbin on Construction Chaos, because he is so good at brake checking, he's so good at blocking, he's very much akin to Spear in that way, and you just saw Neil absolutely fail to break the wall that was Sungbin on those 90s. Even on the more windy tracks at the beginning, where you're actually able to go for some more passes, Sungbin was still blocking him out. So really keen defensive play from the veteran on KWANGDONGFREECS, and now all of the pressure in the world is on Byung-Soo. I don't think there's any way we're gonna be seeing Dalda come in. It's the speed ace, absolutely, that will be the choice for Liiv SANDBOX, and he has a gauntlet to run if he wants to deliver a win for his team.
Quietly, I feel like one of the lesser hyped up members here for Liiv SANDBOX all year, coming in to replace Insu. And he's delivered time and time again, but he doesn't have the fan base that Neil has. He doesn't have the hype storyline that Jimin has in terms of item ace to one of the best, most versatile racers. And Byung-Soo has kind of silently been this consistent piece for Liiv SANDBOX all year long, and now it has to be he who gets his team that trophy. He's getting himself into the zone here. He will have to beat Sungbin, but then also that dynamic duo of World and Cool if Liiv SANDBOX are going to be the first 2023 KDL champions.
Byung-Soo, it looks like his mind is racing right now there on stage. A lot of pressure on him. Can he win 3 tracks in a row and deliver Liiv SANDBOX a championship? Or will Sungbin be able to close it out right here, right now on Terracotta Twister? Let's get ready to go into round number 5.
Terracotta Twister is where Sungbin can see the trophy at the checkered flag. All he has to do is cross it first, and his team is going to do it. The back-to-back-to-back of the first champions of KDL.
Ooh, some really nice plays there by Byung-Soo, though, going for the body fight and stealing a lot of the energy from Sungbin. Sungbin here on this straightaway, though, able to get the advantage for the moment. Byung-Soo now in draft range, going for an ambitious hitter, but again, the blocks have been so good from the veteran.
You can see in the heart rate difference here, Byung-Soo is sub 80. He is a calm and collected racer. I think that's why Liiv SANDBOX decided to pull him out last. He is not going to choke. He is not going to get nervous. And we'll see if he can hold on to this. Oh no! Almost so close to putting Sungbin just right into the ditch. But Sungbin will recover.
Yeah, Byung-Soo is absolutely going for these body checks right now on Sungbin. Sungbin with a nice recovery there will keep himself in the race, but right now, lead going to Byung-Soo here as we're getting ready to finish lap number 1.
Yeah, 0.3 seconds ahead, decent distance here. Sungbin going to try to take this really nice inner, actually, and will come close.
Oh, no!
No! Byung-Soo looks for the block, but actually blocks himself. He can recover from this, but it is going to be a long and tough road.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage coming in. Sungbin with a fantastic recovery, and that block was the Achilles heel of Byung-Soo, but there is a path to victory here if he's able to close the distance. Byung-Soo, the speed ace of Liiv SANDBOX, is one of the best racers in the world. As you can see, that distance getting closer and closer between him and Sungbin, but
he can attack Sungbin here on this critical moment because he hasn't been able to close the gap enough. Okay, trying his hardest, doesn't mess this up. Ooh, that's not it though, and he can't do anything to Sungbin now, and Sungbin is out of his reach. I think it's pretty much done so.
It might be. He's 80 meters away right now as we go into this straightaway, and Sungbin for KWANGDONGFREECS might be able to deliver their first ever championship here in the KDL. Is hurrying at 188. He knows he's done it, and the KWANGDONGFREECS yet again are the champions over Liiv SANDBOX.
KWANGDONGFREECS pre-season 1, pre-season 2, but they are the first champions of Kart Rider Drift League here in 2023. A dominant performance. These competitors stay composed in these high-pressure situations, and that has been the difference makers in this massive rivalry all year long between KWANGDONGFREECS and Liiv SANDBOX. When it matters most, they do not choke, they do not fall under the pressure. Even Spear takes 2 wins here in this finals, an unlikely hero. But it's Liiv SANDBOX who yet again fall in a finals.
Man, what an unbelievable moment here for KWANGDONGFREECS. They get ready to hoist that trophy. A well-deserved victory over Liiv SANDBOX, and an incredible moment for a team that is the first ever champion of the KDL.
What incredible performances we saw from a wide variety of players in this roster today, and things looked shaky at the beginning, but they were able to pull it off. And they have started now the first Kart Rider Drift Dynasty. They're the first team to win this title. And to call them Royal Roaders doesn't feel true because they won both pre-seasons in dominant fashion as well. We're going to have an interview now with these players, our first ever champions of the KDL.
팀전 우승이 처음이네요.
So, this is the first ever.
아, 이거 뭐 풀은 웬만하면 다 안 줄 알았는데 이 단어 자체가
He said,
이렇게
yeah,
나쁠
it's
줄
the
몰랐어요.
first.
어때요? 이 트로피의 무게는.
How do you feel?
개인전보다 확실히
How heavy is the trophy?
오늘 그 사실 첫 번째 페이지 끝났을 때
This
야,
feels heavier than the solo championship trophy.
이렇게 안 되나 또
So after phase 1, yeah.
이런 얘기가 지금 나올 만한 상황이었어요. 어땠어요 그때는?
the team championship is the hardest for a team to lift up the trophy. And he said he was a little bit upset with his individual performance today. Even though he's a solo match champion, he was hoping to do better, but his team at the end was still able to lift the trophy.
거기에 대한 그 떨림들은 없었어요?
일단 우리 이렇게 잘하는 친구들, 형들도 있고
Well,
저도 물론
since I'm surrounded by outstanding teammates with excellent skill,
좀 뭐랄까 물론 저도 나가고 싶었어요.
I didn't have to play at
잘하는
the top of my level or in the King of the Hill matchup, and we were still able to pick up the victory.
자, 그러면 스피어도 한번 만나볼까요?
So now we'll talk to Spear.
오늘 2킬 출발했네요.
네?
오늘 출발 좋다고 승자 연전했었을 때.
So your start today was fantastic
in
in King of the Hill.
사실 그동안 스피어 선수가 가지고 있는
I was
실력이 너무나
really
잘
worried,
됐기
but
때문에
actually it turned out pretty good.
이런 상황에서 상대적으로 덜 등장한다는 거에 대해서 좀
So of
약간
course you already
아쉬움이
know
있었어요.
how well you
사실
played
팬 여러분들
individually.
입장에서도 마찬가지고 그런 상황에 승자 연전의 이 선봉이었는데 부담 안 됐어요?
So didn't you feel a ton of pressure
됐지만 제 뒤에 팀원들이 다 너무
because you were the first starting player for King of the Hill?
부담이 덜했던 것 같아요.
첫 번째 페이지 끝나고
So even if I didn't win, I have a ton of great teammates who could cover for me and pick up the slack. So honestly, I wasn't really nervous.
두 번째 페이지 일단 뭐 잡으면서 어쨌든 뭐
But
좋았습니다.
Phase 1,
전도 이렇게 되고 막 분위기가 막 이랬잖아요. 어땠어요?
Liiv SANDBOX were able to take that.
페이지 때는
But how did you come together and bring it back in Phase 2?
나간 것 같았고 이 페이지 때는 좀 잘 입고 해서 잘 된 것 같아요.
It was pretty tough after losing speed,
뭔가
but we gathered ourselves and we just wanted to focus on the next match ahead. How do you feel now? I don't think this is real. It's hard to feel like this is real.
저번에 우승했을 때
Seems like you've got some mixed emotions.
시즌이기도 하고 그때는 승자전 때 제가 무기력하게 졌어가지고 좀 미안한 마음도 컸었는데
Well,
그래서 조금 그냥 그런 것 같아요.
when I'm playing King of the Hill in the first season, in preseason 2, I lost I got crushed. I lost helplessly. But this time I feel pretty nice because I was a huge part of this championship. So I'm very happy with that.
자, 그러면 월드로 만나봐야죠. 월드. 와, 진짜 모르겠어요. 이게 왜 월드?
So he just doesn't want Spear to cry, so he's going to give it over to World now.
뭔가 약간 진짜 미쳤는데 오늘. 아까 그 애결 순간에 두 번째 페이지 때 안 떨렸어요?
In the ace match of Phase 2, weren't you nervous?
떨렸는데 당연히.
I was exceptionally nervous. I was really feeling the pressure. He's very emotional. So the fans in the audience are cheering him on right now as he answers the question.
그냥 떨렸는데도 그냥 이거 무조건
He said, I just couldn't give up because I knew we were so close to becoming the first ever champions, and no matter what, I knew I had to win.
장면도 많이 보여줬고 그런데 얼마나 이 선수가 이렇게 눈물 많은 선수인지를
What an
팬
incredible
여러분께서 정말
performance
잘
from
알고
World
계실 것
tonight.
같아요.
Yeah.
긴장되는 순간 많았습니다. 오늘
Well, you always have a smile on your face. You always look so happy, but this is such an emotional moment.
순탄하게 지나간 것처럼 보였습니다만 결승전 그 어느 때보다
This must mean so much to you.
오늘 어떤 순간이 좀 가장 많이 좀 긴장이 됐었나요?
오늘 그냥
So,
세트 애결
at which moment did you feel the most pressure during this match?
잘 해결해줘서 너무 고마웠던 것 같아요. 그냥 동생들한테
Well, the ace match, of course, was
보고 싶습니다.
an outstanding amount of pressure, and after I was able to pick up the victory, I knew I could rely on my teammates to deliver the win, and they absolutely delivered an excellent performance.
팬 여러분도 마찬가지고요. 지켜보시는 분들 마찬가지고요. 그러면 우리 성민도 만나봐야죠. 가장 궁금한 것부터
A lot of
물어봐요.
people know why you're feeling
아,
emotional, what
인터뷰
these tears mean. So the first ever champions here in the KDL.
엄청 저번 시즌
I want to ask, why didn't you want to play
생각을 했었는데
on Glacier
On
Extreme
Glacier Extreme
Stadium?
Stadium, yeah.
대회 때 성적이 안 좋았어서 에이스 결정전을 할 때 더
Well, I felt really confident on that track.
자신 있는 맵을 골랐던 것 같아요, 평가요.
자,
but my win rate never met my confidence in performance, so that factored into the decision. So to become a champion, it wasn't easy. Liiv SANDBOX put up a really challenging fight. How do you feel?
이제 아이템전 2대2 상황이었는데 이제 마지막 판에 저희 팀이 순위가 꽤 괜찮았다고 생각했거든요.
Well, when it was 2-2,
솔직히 아이템이 좀
after we finished in item mode,
시스템이잖아요. 그래서 이제 저희 팀이 뒤에서 먹는 아이템을 좀 기다렸는데
I felt like we needed to be a little bit lucky to win in item mode against Liiv SANDBOX. But things didn't quite go as we were expecting and as we were hoping for, so it was a really tough loss for us. So we're talking specifically about the item match earlier on. As you see, there's so many fans here in the audience. It's an absolutely packed crowd here at the Vita 500 Coliseum. Do you have any words you want to say to your fans here?
정말 불리하게 시작을 했는데 결승전을
First of all,
끝까지 믿고 응원해 주신 분들 감사하고 사실 저희가
we didn't have the best start to this finals. We lost phase number 1, although it was very close.
성적이 안 좋았어요. 그래서 솔직히 저는 제가 너무 잘한다고 생각하는 그런
And in our scrims, we were losing match after match after match, so we weren't feeling especially confident coming in here today.
저도 별거 아닌데 엄청 뭐라 했거든요. 근데 그게 너무 미안하고
So
했으니까 그나마 좀 봐줬으면 좋겠고.
So we're all a little bit sensitive and about every individual little thing.
뭐 팬분들, 관계자분들 모두한테 올해를 또 우승 3번 다 해보겠다고
Before I even joined the
그
team,
약속 오늘 지켰습니다, 여러분.
I promised them we would win every season, and I'm really happy that I kept my promise.
그렇지만 다음부터도 꼭 방심하지 않고 팬분들께서 꼭 저희와 함께 가주신다면 저도 끝까지 방심하지 않고
And
열심히
even next season,
다음에도 꼭 우승해 보겠습니다.
I'm not going to let down my guard. I'm going to keep focusing, and I'm going to try and deliver another win for my fans. Once
so one
again,
final applause, he says here, for our champions, KWANGDONGFREECS.
And now we're getting ready for the award ceremony here for Team Match of the 2023 Kartrider Drift League. Truly an incredible finals, Wolf, that had us on the edge of our seats from phase 1 all the way to the King of the Hill. Some unexpected heroes.
Insane finals.
Some big moments.
We're going to, of course, award the runner-up first. This might be a painful moment for Liiv SANDBOX fans as they have been so close and yet so far ever since Kartrider Drift League began 2 preseasons ago. Yeah.
Preseason 1, Preseason 2, and the regular season have not been able to defeat their arch rivals, the KWANGDONGFREECS. And I'm so interested in seeing how this rivalry continues to develop over time here in the KDL. But really, for Liiv SANDBOX, even though this is just a second place performance for them, they played exceptionally well. They surprised me with their speed and their item mode skills, especially in phase number 1. And I think that the future's bright for them.
Oh, absolutely. And the past was bright as well. You know, this team has accomplished so much. But one final cheer for our runners-up, Liiv SANDBOX. They will take to the stage and pick up what is still a substantial amount of prize money here in 40 million won. And it's tough because Neil was on this same stage holding another runner-up check just last week, and he'll do it twice again here. He's become a bit of a Kong, as we call it here in Korea, second place finisher here. He's just got a second place curse early on in Kartrider Drift League, but who knows what the future holds.
His teammates patting him on the back. They know how hard it is for him, but I mean, truly, it still is an incredible performance here for Liiv SANDBOX. And although they're sad right now in this moment, I think they can look back on this final still as an accomplishment and come back stronger next time.
Certainly can. And the dominance we've seen from Liiv SANDBOX over this entire year can still be felt even if they don't lift the trophy. But there is one team left to announce. There's one team left to award.
Is that the case, Wolf? We have one more team?
There's one left.
Yeah, KWANGDONGFREECS, the champions from the beginning of this year. KDL Preseason 1 and Preseason 2, although they won. It didn't go into the record books, but this one absolutely does. And let's welcome to the stage the champions of the KDL regular season 1, the first ever official championship that will go into the history books. KWANGDONGFREECS, they take the trophy and that 100 million Korean won prize.
KWANGDONGFREECS, preseason 1 champions, preseason 2 champions, but they are your 2023 Kart Rider Drift League team match champions. 100 million won, as you say, all the pride, and World keeping his promise that he would win 3 in a row. Sungbin will also receive the MVP award after the votes came through. He's shocked by this information, but he was the one to cross the checkered flag in the end and take out Neil and Byung-Soo to win it all, and I think that's why a lot of people voted for him.
This is a team of MVPs. It's a team of all-stars, and the fact they've been able to stick together, this 4-man squad, and deliver victory after victory after victory is just such an incredible storyline. And this really is, I think, a super team, and it's the team to beat. And if KWANGDONGFREECS continues to return with the same roster again and again and again, which I see no reason why they wouldn't, it's going to be a tall order for anyone in the world to take them down.
I imagine that during the offseason they will keep this roster together as well. I don't know if we could say the same about a lot of our other top teams here in the team league, but thank you guys so much for your support throughout preseasons 1 and 2, and now finally the penultimate moment here in 2023. We had Cool crowned the solo champion. KWANGDONGFREECS, his team, crowned our first team league champions. And for myself and State, thank you so much for your support this year, and we'll see you next time.
정규 시즌 잘 마쳤을 나에게 영상 편지.
세영아, 이번 시즌 정말 고생했는데 애들하고 같이 즐기면서 만족했을 거라고 생각해.
만약 성적이 잘 안 나오더라도 좋은 동생들이랑 같이 했으니까 기분 좋게 끝냈으면 좋겠다.
이기는 맛이 이 맛이구나.
인터뷰를 한 번이라도 했을지 안 했을지 모르겠지만 여기서라도 이렇게 말하는데 너 멋있으니까 더 좋은 모습으로 보기를 바란다. 예.
팀원들의 사기를 북돋기 위해서
팀원들에게 쓴소리도 많이 하겠지만 좋은 성적을 내기 위한 과정이라고 생각을 할 거고 좋은 결과가 나왔으면 좋겠습니다. 얘들아 포스트 시즌 가보자. 파이팅!
데스페라도도 포스트 시즌을 확정 지었습니다.
주영아, 정규 시즌 끝날 때쯤이면 좀 하얘졌을 것 같으니까 까맣다고 하지 마라.
다원아 반갑다. 고생 많았고 놀러 가자.
이런 말 하는 거 정말 부끄럽지만 다음 시즌도 잘해보자. 고생했다.
2023년을 우리의 해로 광프!
사실 저희랑 광동이랑 차이가 너무 많이 나서 이번 시즌 잘 모를 것 같아요. 어? 너 뭐하냐? 항복을 선언하는데?
리브 샌드박스에게 3번 실패 없습니다.
저는 이제 광동 프릭스에게 3번의 성공이 있습니다. 이렇게 말하면 될까요?
진짜 나쁜 싸움이에요.
멀어집니다. 아주 여유롭게 멀어지고 있습니다.
새로운 팀에서 1년 동안 달렸는데 정말 박수를 주고 싶어.
부족한 주장이지만 많이 잘 따라줘서 고맙다고 팀원들한테 전하고 싶어요.
광동 그대로 경기 끝.
너 수고 많았고 고생했으니까 좀만 쉬자.
팀원들이랑 사이좋게 지내고 팬들한테 잘해주는 노준현을 봤으면 좋겠다. 우승 축하해 준현아.
Check if my name in your mouth, better add your respect. Otherwise, pressure gon' be at your neck when I burn you like. This ain't a game, my aim is the throne. I'm much higher than you, like a rocket, a drone. I'm powerful, think of a stone. Throw it off in my brain and I'm back to the bone.